broadcasting across the nation from the East Coast to the West, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side, with leading-edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, Technology news of the week, the show for the everyday person talking about technology, broadcasting across the nation with insightful segments on subjects. Weeks ahead of the mainstream media, we welcome our radio audience of 35 million listeners to an hour of insightful technology news. I'm Nathan Mumm, your host. Glad to be back. I was off last week, so Mr. Gorday, thank you very much for filling in for me. It was a great show to listen to. I had a great time listening to that. But I'm glad to be back in the captain's chair. Are you ready to go today? Because I got lots of energy. This is like ADD Nathan Mumm. So here we go. Are you ready?
That's normal for you.
Okay, all right. So I'm a technologist with 30 years of technology expertise. Our co-host here, Mike Gorday, is in studio, and he's the award-winning author and human behavior expert. We are live streaming our show on 5 of the most popular platforms, including YouTube, Twitch.tv, X, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We encourage you to visit us online at techtimeradio.com and become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/TechTimeRadio. We are all friends here from different backgrounds, but we bring the best technology show possible for our family, friends, and fans to enjoy. We're glad to have Odie, our producer, at the control panel today. Welcome, everyone. Let's start today's show.
Now on today's show.
All right. Welcome aboard to the Tech Time Radio Express. Today, I'm your captain, Nathan Mumm. We're about to take off on a bite-sized adventure through a technology cosmos. Buckle up because our flight plan is packed with tech turbulence, Wi-Fi waves. Picture this, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and a lunar Wi-Fi hotspot. Yes, folks, we're talking about streaming cat videos on the moons. Forget about one step for mankind. It's more like one giant leap for binge watching. Then attention to our Airbnb hosts. Your living room is not a reality TV set. Airbnb has officially outlawed indoor surveillance. We're going to be talking about that. So think again about planning those live streams of your guests' late night snack raids. Privacy wins and the cameras lose. Next, we have Gwen Way up in our feature segment. She's going to unveil a device that made me invest in it after watching a 2-minute video. And then on This Week in Technology, we flash back to March 11th, 105. No smartphones, no Wi-Fi. Just a bunch of monks. And we update you on what your car is selling. And do you know that your car knows more about you than your therapist? That's right. Yep, that's true. Just think that 2 a.m. Taco Bell run might affect your premiums as your insurance costs may go up, as we talk about in our lead story. So fasten your seatbelts, stow those emotional baggages in the overhead compartments, and let's prepare for a tech-tastic ride on Tech Time Radio. Let's start now with our first headline.
Here are our top technology stories of the week.
All right. Okay. Automakers are sharing consumer driving behavior with insurance companies. Now, we talked about this back in episode 170 of Tech Time Radio on September 13th of last year regarding the privacy aspects of new cars.
Oh, that was the date of the fire.
That was. There you go. That's a big day in your life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that. Okay, so since we talked about what the automakers were doing when they're exposing contracts, when you would go on in and you would buy a new car, you sign up and you sign your privacy away, most of the times not even knowing about it, from a salesperson that says, here you go. Here's something that will help you save lives, that'll help you save certain stuff here. We're going to track your miles per hour. We're going to make sure that you drive safely. That don't worry about this data. Well, guess what? That is now being sold to insurance companies. And that is making the difference in people's premiums when they look to renew.
I feel like we may have predicted that back.
We kind of did. We didn't quite call it out that way, but you know what? Let's go right now to Corinne Westland for a little bit more on this story.
LexisNexis, which generates consumer risk profiles for insurers, knows about every trip GM drivers have taken in their cars, including when they speed, brake too hard, or accelerate rapidly. Automakers and data brokers that have partnered to collect detailed driving data from millions of Americans say they have the driver's permission to do so. However, The existence of these partnerships is nearly invisible to drivers, whose consent is obtained in fine print and murky privacy policies that few read. The car companies are really good at linking these features to safety, but they're about making money and charging more for your insurance based on your driving risks. Back to you in the studio.
All right, so we're going to tell a little story about an individual. His name's Ken Doll, Kenndahl. So it's not like the Ken doll for Barbie, but his name's Ken Doll.
I'm sure he gets teased about it.
I'm sure he may be a little bit. But essentially, he is a careful driver. The owner of a software company near Seattle. He drives a leased Chevrolet Bolt. He has never been responsible for an accident. So when Mr. Doll, at 65, was surprised when his premiums jumped up 21% on his insurance for his vehicles. Quotes from other insurance companies were also high. And so Mr. Dahl said, "Why did my premiums jump up so much?" One of the insurance agents told him that it was because his LexisNexis report was a factor. This is a company named LexisNexis. So it sounds like a car company, kind of Lexus, right? So you kind of got it. But LexisNexis is a New York-based global data broker with a risk solution division that caters to the auto industry's insurance companies themselves. Upon Dahl's request, LexisNexis sent a 258-page consumer disclosure report, which must be provided per the Fair Act Reporting Act, that essentially had more than 130 pages detailing when him and his wife would drive the Bolt over the previous 6 months, and included the dates of 640 trips, their start times, their end times, the distance driven, and accounting for any speeding, hard braking, or sharp accelerations that happened during this time. The only thing it didn't have is where they had driven the car to, but it had GPS locations, so you could pretty much figure this out. So essentially, an individual, never been in a wreck, has a great driving record. He's going on in, Mr. Dahl here, to take a look at his insurance premiums. All of a sudden, they jump up 21%. He's like, why the heck would I jump up 21%? I'm 65. I'm getting older. They should probably come down. He went to different agencies, insurance agencies, to find different pricing. And finally, one of the people said, well, it's not that you don't have a great driving record, but there's a company out there that essentially reports to all the insurance companies by the name of LexisNexis that has all your data, and they consider you a high risk.
Yeah, I think LexisNexis needs to go away.
Well, so it's interesting here. So essentially, GM was probed about it. GM says that they don't sell this information to LexisNexis, but essentially what they do is they sell it to the parent company, both GM, Honda, Kia, Hyundai, and we talked about these in the previous report that we did. You can go back and watch episode 170 for more information on your privacy in your car itself. But essentially, these are being sold either to LexisNexis or they're being sold to another company that's out there that is essentially their brother or sister company that essentially is in there. And it's a part of the OnStar conglomerate of information. Now,
well, see, I have OnStar, but I don't use it. Well, I don't have it.
Okay, well, do you understand that the Cadillac owner, Mr. Dahl, essentially, he has OnStar in his car itself, and he never signed up for it, but it still tracks it because just because you don't use the OnStar, they still can use all the data of that tracking device, even though you've never turned it on, which Mr. Dahl did not turn it on in his specific car, and essentially they still used internet-connected systems to relay that information back out.
See, this is what twists my guts up in knots. This is what really upsets me about how technology is used.
Well, did you know this is happening? So essentially, GM confirmed that it shared information not with LexisNexis, but with a company called Verisk, Verisk, Verisk. And Verisk is essentially the parent company of LexisNexis because LexisNexis is now getting out there so people know it. So they essentially said, well, we don't share it with LexisNexis, but we give it to the parent company and give the information.
This is penalizing somebody for having risk factors.
That is correct.
See, that is patently wrong. I mean, even in our legal system, you're not allowed to penalize for risk factors.
So LexisNexis Risk Solutions, which is a software solution, retains customers' driving data for 6 months for all the drivers. And then they're not allowed to keep it past 6 months with the accordance of the current laws that are in place. But essentially, they can do 6 months bulk of data, so a data dump We do this all the time in data companies. You take a data dump of 6 months, and then 3 months later, you take a data dump. And then when you have an algorithm runs a real quick batch file that puts them in so you can have historical data. So it doesn't mean that the historical data isn't there. It just may not be stored by LexisNexis.
See, this is the kind of stuff that makes people not get insurance. So they're driving around illegally, and then they do get in an accident, and you can't get any recompense from them because the insurance companies are so busy gouging everybody based on these types of numbers. And it sounds like I have a real hard feelings about this, and I do.
Well, so essentially, if you want to learn a little bit more about this, there's a Respect Your Privacy driver feedback forum that's available online that you can take a look at. Essentially, all car companies, every single car company that you can purchase in the United States, every single one, there is not one that's omitted from this, essentially has you sign a user acceptance on a purchase of a new vehicle, which gives them the right for them to track and to have this information on you, which then could have a problem with your insurance company if your rates decide to go up.
I think you should argue coercion on those things because, when you're sitting in there for 8-10 hours trying to buy a new car, it becomes more of a coercive sort of
it does,
system.
Right? Well, the car companies say that this is to help people develop safer driving habits.
It's BS.
Quote unquote.
That's absolute BS. It doesn't translate into helping people be safer drivers.
Yeah.
It doesn't translate into any positive regard for the driver. All it does is translate into more dollars for the insurance companies.
Yep. So that's a pretty big breaking story. Now, the last story that we talked about, it did take about 2 months, and then it did kind of get mainstream again with the car information. So this is now the first real big news break regarding insurance companies now using this. So LexisNexis, bye-bye. You do not want to be using that. And that means you need to go back to a car that's 4 years older than what the current models are to remove yourself from these user acceptances. So I mean,
never going to buy a new car ever
all these
again.
Used cars are going to have these high values as they
I'm going to become Nathan and get Neos.
Get a 1995 Geo Metro?
Yeah.
All right, here you go. Story number 2, bud. It's up for you.
Oh, well. Are you an Airbnb-er?
I am. I do like them a lot.
Well, Airbnb has come out and has banned all indoor security cameras, which it announced on Monday. And this is a global listing issue.
Okay.
The vacation homestay rental company announced on Monday that they have come to this decision after many reports of hidden cameras over the years. Which
I have a device that I specifically bought. Because when I do run Airbnbs, to make sure that there wasn't infrared cameras in these.
Yeah. See, when you said the title of this last night, what was the first thing I said?
You were like, "Well, why? Was that the first thing you said?" You said,
"Well, I said it's probably because people are spying on you while you're in your Airbnb."
Correct.
And yeah, I think this is a good idea. While the majority of the listings, more than 7 million worldwide at the end of last year, don't report having indoor security cameras, Airbnb said the policy change was made in an effort to prioritize the privacy of guests. Previously, the company allowed indoor security cameras in common areas as long as they were disclosed on the listing page before booking and clearly visible to guests. The update of this policy simplified the approach and makes it clear that security cameras are not allowed inside listings, regardless of their location, purpose, or prior disclosure. The revised policy, which takes effect on the 30th of April, also includes more thorough rules on the use of outdoor security cameras and other devices such as noise decibel monitors, which are required to be disclosed before the guest books. Outdoor cameras will not be allowed in certain areas where there's a greater expectation of privacy, such as a sauna. VRBO, another vacation rental company, states that it does not allow any form of surveillance device inside a property, with the exception of smart devices that are allowed as long as you have been informed of their presence and given the option to deactivate them. Surveillance devices that use any form of capture device, such as a camera or audio recorder, can't be used inside a property either.
Okay. Well, that kind of makes sense. So, I mean, I get creeped out a little bit. But
Well, I don't use Airbnb, so I don't really know.
I just
any
did
of these
one.
things.
My wife and I, for our anniversary, we went and rented an Airbnb. Really nice log cabin out in the middle of no man's land. Still had internet and still had satellite dish, so I was okay for my Sunday football.
We all know about your allergicness to
fantasy football and stuff like that. Yeah, so I was still okay there. But so they had some cameras outside that they visibly showed, and we actually went around and were taking a look to make sure there was no additional cameras. Not that I think that I really care if anybody
have you found
sees
hidden
anything.
cameras in any Airbnbs that you stayed at?
I think the California one that we stayed at, we were down in the California one. We did not have that device at the time, so I did not do that. But I think that one probably had additional hidden cameras in that. They had this little play area. It was a little bit of a setup and a kind of a deal. I don't know if it was to like creep out or spy on people, but I bet you there was probably some common spaces there, but I did not verify it. But again, I don't know if I'm a homeowner and I have an Airbnb. I'd be kind of conflicted because I'd like to have it in the common area space to make sure that people aren't doing some raging party or doing something.
Well, that's
crazy,
the risk you take for renting out your property.
Yeah, I used to rent out my RV too.
That's
I had
part
an RV.
of. Isn't that what I would assume? That's part of the insurance that Airbnb
provides. Yep. Yeah. So you know what? I probably wouldn't be as adverse to removing my cameras now that I think about it. I think that would make sense. Did you have a comment you were going to say there, Odie?
It's pronounced Verbo.
VRBO?
Yeah.
Is it Verbo?
Well,
Verbo.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
She's taking care
Verbo.
Verbo.
There you go. Okay. All right. Well,
Talk about the moon, buddy.
are you ready to talk about the moon? What if, so this is kind of an interesting story. What if we establish Wi-Fi on the moon? So let's just talk about how we have Wi-Fi here in the world.
Why
we go out to a satellite. We go out to a satellite for Wi-Fi, especially if you're on Starlink. Starlink is a great internet service. Elon Musk's company is doing pretty good with this. So you can just shoot up to the satellite, come on back down. Essentially, you're going to a satellite, you're getting a relay, and it comes back to a station. It wouldn't be that difficult to have that satellite have an additional reflector on the other side that you essentially sent waves from the moon to that reflector to get internet service. Now, would it?
Okay, for what purpose?
Well, you know what? Let's go and talk to David Larson, who's got a little bit more about Wi-Fi on the moon.
Can you hear me now? 4G and 5G wireless connection speeds are being planned to be implemented on the moon. NASA is launching moon relay satellites as part of its Lunar Communications Relay and Navigation Systems project. Once 4G and 5G are available on the moon, any astronaut on the surface can communicate reliably with their rovers, instruments, and crew members. Any data coming back to Earth can then be sent over one link. We have seen truly incredible strides in mobile communications on Earth in just the past 10 to 20 years, says NASA, and if we reliably deploy those same conveniences to the moon, we'll be in great shape. The first opportunity for moonwalkers to test surface communications in person is likely to be NASA's Artemis III mission in 2026.
All right, so
That makes more sense.
okay, so it does. It says before
Let's
you're
just
like, what
give
the heck you
the
doing?
moon's been really pissed off about everything and be like, hey, give us Wi-Fi.
Well, so just think, that's because the astronauts are out there. They need to stay up to date on their Netflix accounts and everything. No, that's not why it's there. But essentially, if you look at it, the technology to implement on the moon, the ability to relay them back to other satellites, now they're going to actually create a sphere around the moon. So think of the moon as a circle, right? Right, so like a basketball, right? That's an analogy.
You want me to think of it
Well,
like that?
I just don't want you
Are
to
you
think
a
of the
flat
moon as
moon
being
society
flat.
guy?
Okay, no, I'm not. You will have to have relays that essentially orbit the moon itself in an area so they can shoot the information back from one satellite to another satellite to then a relay station back at Earth. But if you can get 3G, 4G speeds now, and now you can send tons of data, you can fix stuff. You could then literally code from residentially here in
This isn't going to be able to allow us to connect to the moon. This is primarily building the infrastructure for
Research colonies.
A lot more visits to the moon.
Yep.
And at some point, a colony on the moon.
Probably in some type of, and if we're going to try to go to Mars or we're going to try to go to Saturn and some of these other planets out there, it would make sense. I mean, as much as this sounds science fiction-like, it would make sense to have the moon as a port out there where the ships would launch from or go to as an additional location that they can come back to before you go back into Earth's atmosphere. So they are just deciding to build Wi-Fi on the moon.
Yeah.
And just think,
I wonder if I can get better rates.
Well, do you know what I was thinking? It'd probably be better than going through the mountain passes here. They'll probably have better service in the. This is something that's amazing.
Why would you think that?
Well, because you go to Africa, right? You think Africa is like a horribly unconnected place. You go to Africa and you get 3G service throughout all of Africa in the middle of no man's land because there's no regulations for towers. There's no other type of deal. So if you get up here quick enough in the moon and you can put a bunch of towers up there, you'll probably be safe from anything.
Oh, well, I wonder what they're going to do with those people that buy pieces of the moon.
Well, I don't know. I have a piece of the moon.
I know. That's why I'm saying.
So I got a 1x1 square.
Does yours get? Do you have to upcharge that because you're going to get Wi-Fi?
Maybe there you go. Okay, all right. That's actually a pretty good question. I now need to send it back to my constellations of the moon place.
I might follow up with that.
Yeah, I need to send them because they never respond to me when I try to respond and talk with them, but they sure took my $79 to give me a little piece of the moon.
Yeah. Do you have a star too?
I do have a star named after me.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, do you have a star named after you?
No.
And you know what? I'm working on being knighted too.
I don't own a piece of the moon. I have considered becoming a lord in Scotland.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
I could buy a foot by foot piece of grass.
Well, that ends our top technology stories of the week. Moving on, Gwen Way is up with our gadgets and gear segment that is so good that I invested no more than 3 minutes after learning about this product. What is this great new gadget? Well, we're going to have it up next. You're listening to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. See you after this commercial break.
This is Mark.
And Greg.
For Copiers Northwest.
With a terrific offer.
Called Printer Care Plus.
It's simple. Buy HP printer cartridges from Copiers Northwest and we'll service your current printers for free.
That sounds too good to be true.
It's made possible due to our HP Copiers Northwest relationship.
Copiers Northwest is an HP Platinum partner.
One of only 2 in the entire Northwest.
And now with Printer Care Plus,
Copiers Northwest will provide free printer service.
As long as they purchase genuine HP cartridges from Copiers Northwest.
That's right. IT departments no longer have to service printers.
Or fix paper jams with Printer Care Plus.
They can focus on more strategic initiatives.
And let our experienced technicians keep their HP printers up and running.
Sounds like a love-love relationship for IT departments.
Don't get too carried away. So how do they get more details on Printer Care Plus?
Call Copiers Northwest today, 206-282-1200, or visit copiersnw.com.
Copiers Northwest. New ideas, new solutions.
Welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Our weekly show covers the weekly top technology subjects without any political agenda. We verify the facts, and we do it with a sense of humor in less than 60 minutes. And, of course, with a little whiskey on the side. Today, Mark Gregoire, our whiskey connoisseur, joins us in studio to tell us what we are tasting today. So, Mark, what are we tasting today? Because it was pretty it was pretty hot there.
Yes, it is. So for your welcome back, we brought Four Roses, single barrel strength, OBSO. Now, from Four Roses website, they say some bourbon recipes stand on their own as single barrel offerings, as well as being mingled with other recipes to create the small batch bourbons. This month's recipe, the OBSO, is both a team player and can stand on its own. So the B stands for the high rye mash bill. The O is the yeast strain, which means it's fruit forward. This combination of OBSO gives it signature deep, rich fruit notes that balance perfectly with the bright rye spice. Some of the fruit flavors produced by the O strain are cherry, red apple, ripe cherry, and light berry. Now, as it's the younger age of this, the flavors are bright and crisp, but as it ages to the longer years, it increases in the caramel and vanilla tones, mingling with mellow fruit flavors to create a deep, dark fruit tones that sometimes give an almost candied impression. Now, this is from the Kieran Brewing Company, is from the Four Roses Distillery and from Kentucky, straight bourbon. It is 10 years, 4 months. It is 111.4 proof, 60% corn, 35% rye, and 5 malted barley. Price point is $100. Sometimes on the secondary, you see it for $150.
So you know what? It was pretty strong. It had a little bit of a bite, but there's not a burn though. I'm not burning it. It's not coming back to me after I've had it. You getting any burn?
That's all the Monster you drank before you came in.
Is that the Monsters I drank? Okay. All right. Now I kind of like this. All right.
Now stay tuned for the mumbles because that's going to be fun. We're going to compare this to another Four Roses single barrel strength, but a slightly different variation of it.
Okay. Well, there you go. See, everything's back ready to go. Okay. Now let's get ready for our gal. She is an expert in cybersecurity during the day and a game board geek in the evening, as well as a producer of TechTime Radio. And our gadgets and gear gal, Gwen Way, is joining us back, ready to go on our Comcast video stream now.
What's new in our gadgets and gear?
All right, Gwen. So
Join the fun and grab tickets to Geekfest West, the 3-day.
Oh, okay.
What's going on there?
We do want everybody to join us.
There you go. Okay. All right. Well, there you go, Odie. There's one strike. 2 more, and she's out. Okay. No. As we go, Gwen, glad to have you. Now, you were really smart last night because you clearly know how to pick an item for a Kickstarter or one of these gadgets because you picked an item. And you didn't have a secondary real item ready to go, and you knew that I was going to be a hook, line, and sinker into this product. And I was
literally, you watched part of the video and then signed up while we were at the production.
You guys actually saw me signing up, didn't you?
Yeah, we all got your credit card number.
Okay, did you? Okay, okay. Yeah. Well, okay. All right. Well, that's all right. You can buy it for 50 cents. We'll talk about that later in the show. Okay, so talk about this awesome item. This is I actually told 2 people about it today before the show that I talked with as I was coming on in. So what is the name of this item? Where can we find it? Let's start out with that first.
All right. Well, we are back to Kickstarter again.
Okay.
I just love it. It's new stuff. It is new developers. It's ideas that aren't necessarily in the zeitgeist of the world yet. But I think a lot of them could be. And this is definitely one of them.
The Luna robot that I bought is now sold mainstream. And I bought it on Kickstarter. So when certain things come out
it was actually one that you put money in and you actually got.
I actually got. So that is always the benefit of this. Yeah, that is correct. So just to say that there are stuff out there that becomes mainstream in Kickstarter. I hope this one does too. But keep on going. Sorry about that. I'm so excited.
He's had too many monsters.
Understandable. Well, it's the monsters, but also it's the monster that you could have on your desk.
Okay.
So the device that we're looking at is called LOOI. It's LOOI. And it's basically a way to turn the smartphones that we all have into a little robot on your desk.
Oh, all right. You're not kidding me. It turns a robot friend on your desk from your phone. Okay.
Yeah, we all saw it.
I know. So
we're really excited about it.
This is awesome. Okay. So, I mean, you know what? I need as many friends as I can get, and these robots are essentially my friends here. So, okay. So it's LOOI. What does this do? How does this work? Tell us a little bit about it. Then how much it costs, and then backers, and how many days we have. But tell us how this works and what it does.
So it's basically a little armature that you can stick your phone on. It's made specifically with a magnetic ring. So for anybody who has an iPhone more recent than, I believe it's the 12 when they started those, you can just put your iPhone right on there. For anybody who is not an iPhone user or has a much older model, they actually give you a magnetic ring that you can put on the back of your phone so that it can still connect and kind of move this armature around. One of the cool things is not only does it give you an interactive toy basically on your desk that can take pictures, play games, move around, give you alerts, whatever you need it to do. It also charges your phone at the same time, so you're not even draining your battery.
So it charges your phone. So this is like an R2D unit. It's a small size that fits your phone. It's got these little wheels that it goes back and forth. You put your phone onto this little cradle that essentially makes this phone then become your personal robot.
Exactly. And it gives you, there's an app that is associated with it, obviously.
Okay.
The app allows you to play certain games. It gives it expression, so it pops up little eyes. You can give it a little scratch on the side of the phone, I guess, and it'll give you hearts. It can
take your pictures too. If you have like your loved one comes on in, you can give it like a little click on the phone, and then it will take a picture.
Exactly.
So it's like a selfie without being a selfie. And does it fall off your desk? That's the key.
Okay.
It does not. It actually has a sensor that senses the edge of the desk. So while it might push, I don't know, say an orange off the desk, the device itself is not going to fall off.
Oh, yeah. I don't think you mentioned that it has little tracks and it actually runs around on your desk.
It runs around like a person. Yeah.
So it'll give you alerts. So if you get an email or a text message or have an event coming up that you've got a reminder for, it'll actually pop up on that to make sure that you're
eyes
aware
on
of
it,
what's
that it
going
looks like
on.
it's an actual robot. Man, this sounds like it's $5,000 or maybe at least $1,000 because this thing sounds really, really cool.
Are you going to go on late night TV and start selling stuff now?
No. But this device is pretty cool. All right. So, we'll talk about how much it costs in a bit. I want to hide that. We're going to hide that. So how many backers do we have and how many more days can we sign up for it?
Okay. We have a ridiculous number of backers. Right now we're sitting at just under 1,200.
Okay.
They've brought in just under $160,000 out of a $5,000 goal. So it's clearly met goal by now.
Okay.
We have until April 12th. So everybody has plenty of time. Do your research, gather your funds together, hop on here and back the project.
Okay, so now this has got to be at least $500 then. I mean, if we're going the Luna robot that I got, that was like $499 when it was all said and done, and I have to charge it, and it kind of gets in the way of my office.
Well,
and
you didn't.
I have a bunch of robots in my office.
You didn't mention that this also can charge your phone.
Well, it can charge your phone.
Yeah.
So I go to IKEA, and if I buy a wireless charger for my phone,
that's
at least $50.
It's okay.
Right?
There's nothing. We don't even know if it's going to actually make it to market yet.
Okay, well, hang on. So how much is this unit going to be then, Gwen?
Well, right now, if you get in on the super early bird sale, you can actually pick it up for $120.
$120. You got to be kidding me.
Nope.
$120.
You've still got 16 of those left.
You're acting surprised, but we watched you buy it last night for $120.
I did.
Right.
I did. Okay, so there's still how many left available?
There's 16 left at that super early bird price.
I don't know if there'll be left. It looks like we have about 1,500 people watching our show right now. So if they all go to Kickstarter, I think they may be sold out. So what's the next price available if they all sell out? What's the next one?
The next one up from the super early bird is it's another super early bird. It's a combo for $131, and then you can double it and get two of them for $233.
Okay, there you go.
Did you get that one?
I did not.
Oh, that's
I only did the one.
Your wife's going to be disappointed. She doesn't get her own.
Well, no, maybe she gets. So I literally have more robots in my studio than most people have had in their lifetime.
Probably.
I do. I have at least. I was just going through all of them. I got like six of them. Six different versions. I got an R2D2 that I got from Disneyland. That I got a little remote, and I got this, and I got this, and I got a whole bunch of crazy crap that I have. So,
to be honest, 6 is a much lower number than I was expecting.
Okay. Well, just okay. It's got 7.
We're a little disappointed here, man.
Okay, where's this company based? How many campaigns have they done? Is this going to be one of these fly-by-night people that take my money and then I have to get my credit card reimbursed later at a later time?
So it is their first created Kickstarter.
Okay.
They're based out of Singapore, though, and most companies based out of Singapore have fairly good track records with Kickstarter.
Okay.
They are working with a bunch of the companies also that are pretty positive in terms of Kickstarter. They've got backer kit in there involved and all of that. And also, I want to mention one other thing for everybody.
Yep.
You get a referral bonus.
Oh.
So Nathan may want to actually post his link if he gets it.
Okay.
On the TechTime Facebook page.
I'll do that. I'll absolutely do that. So then you can click on it.
100% cash back from every referral.
I did not get that when I signed that up. I did not see a referral thing in there. So I need to make sure I get that. I'll get that definitely on the post-production of this out there. So that sounds good. So this is a cool little robot. It sits on your desk. It's $110, $120. You put your phone into it. It charges your phone while it's been plugged in. So that's not draining the phone itself, which is literally a $50, $60 component within itself. Now, how does this unit charge? Is there a dongle cable that it plugs into at night? How does this charge, Gwen?
Yep, you can actually plug it in at night. It's pretty simple to do. It also has a certain amount of charging where it's actually charging itself as it moves.
Okay.
Which is also a bonus.
Okay.
But yeah, plugging it in at night will give it enough charge. So basically, it's a battery pack as well.
It's a battery pack.
Charging it at night will give it enough charge to charge your phone, I believe, 3 times. Let me verify that, though, really quickly.
And the name of this is LOOI. So it's the LOOI smartphone.
LOOI.
Or LOOI. 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 Smartphone desktop robot. So how many charges does it get? 2, 3?
3.
3 charges. Okay, there you go.
3 charges. And it looks like it should be ready to ship sometime around August.
There you go. So that means it'll be Christmas time, but that's okay.
Yep.
You can still get it for Christmas and have it ready to go. All right, Gwen, it is so great to have you. We appreciate you each month for coming on our show. It's always a pleasure to talk to you about new items. Thank you for being a part of today's show.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that ends our Gadgets and Gear with
Gwen.
Gwen Way. Up next, we have This Week in Technology, so now would be a great time to enjoy a little whiskey on the side, as we're going to be doing that during the break also. You're listening to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm. See you in a few minutes.
Join the fun and grab tickets to GeekFest West, the 3-day Geek Festival extravaganza of fun and entertainment that will take place on the 3rd weekend in July. Learn more at geekfest.com. GeekFest will feature diverse activities, including a film festival, vendor hall, street fair, outdoor music festival, cosmic cosplay, and video game tournaments. Join us at GeekFest West, the ultimate celebration of geek culture. To learn more, visit geekfest.com. That is geekfest.com.
And now, let's look back at this week in technology.
There's that music. All right, March 11th, 105. Paper is shown to the Emperor of China.
105
paper,
what? BC or
105 BC.
Okay.
Paper industry is launched. Essentially, Chai Lun, a eunuch in service to the Emperor of China, shows the court his version of paper. Lun had been experimenting with the refining process for making paper that has been used for 2 centuries prior. His paper perhaps is the first to incorporate wood, and it becomes the base of Chinese paper industry, which eventually spreads to the rest of the world a few hundred years later. This is also perhaps the earliest event in technology history we have recorded. Well, that was This Week in Technology. It was pretty nice,
the
wasn't it?
Egyptians used papyrus long before that.
Yeah, well, I think the idea of this is the incorporation of wood. So when I actually did some information on this, the idea was that they had the ability to soak the wood and then create the paper, and it was longer lasting, so it didn't disappear compared to other organic methods that were used previously. I did a lot of research on this, actually, so if you really want to grill me on it, let me know, because I ended up going down a rabbit trail for about
we don't
30
need
minutes
to know
on
about
the
your
internet.
rabbit trails.
Okay, there we go. That was This Week in Technology. Have you ever wanted to watch some Tech Time history with over 180 weekly broadcasts spanning 4+ years of video, podcasts, and blog information? You can visit us anytime at techtimeradio.com to watch our older shows. Go back and watch episode 170 where we talk about the cars and the issues that they have with their tracking, or any of the other shows. We're going to take a commercial break, but when we return, we have Mark's Whiskey Mumble Review. We'll see you after the break.
Hello, my name is Arthur, and my life's work is connecting people with coffee. Story Coffee is a small batch specialty coffee company that uses technology to connect people to each product resource, which allows farmers to unlock their economic freedom. Try our Medium Roast Founder Series coffee, which is an exotic bourbon variety that is smooth, fresh, and elegant at storycoffee.com. That's STORI coffee.com. Today you can get your first bag free when you subscribe at storycoffee.com with code TechTime. That's STORI coffee.com.
The segment we've been waiting all week for. Mark's Whiskey Mumble.
Welcome,
All right.
welcome. All right. So today, March 12th, we are celebrating. We are celebrating. Now, our friend Jack would know what today is, him being in HR.
Is it
National HR Day?
Is it HR Day?
No, just HR would know about it. Jack should call in and tell us.
Diversity training?
No, it is Equal Pay Day.
Oh, okay. Look at
Yeah,
that.
all right, Odie.
Way to go, Odie.
That was smart.
There you go.
So let me tell you about Equal Pay Day.
Yep.
It is an annual observance that symbolizes the ongoing issues of pay disparity and the wage gap between men and women. The date itself symbolizes how far into the year women must work to make as much as men during the previous year. So the date fluctuates each year based on the current salary gap and the country. Unfortunately, most countries still have a wage gap between men and women.
That is a shame.
It is.
Because if you do the job, you should get paid for do the job. All right. So bring us back up after that.
No, that's not. To bring more attention to Equal Pay Day, let's talk about a woman that had a huge impact on the whiskey world.
Okay.
Now, Nathan, you had asked me in a previous episode about sour mash.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with it being sour.
Okay.
And I said, I'm going to talk about it later. This is a perfect day to talk about it. So the sour mash fermentation process involves adding a portion of an older batch of mash to adjust the acidity of the new one, resulting in consistent and higher quality liquor. Think of it as a sourdough starter for baking bread, but for whiskey instead. Now, most bourbon and rye are made from the sour mash process, with few exceptions, such as Wilderness Trail or Peerless. The first sour mash recipe is credited to Catherine Spears Fry Carpenter. In 1818, the Catherine Carpenter Distillery produced this groundbreaking recipe, which became a key component in the production of whiskey, especially in the United States. Catherine's contribution to whiskey-making history is truly noteworthy. Now, we have a second sip today for our Four Roses Barrel Strength. Today we're drinking OBSO, but in the tiny glass that you have next to you is one we tried before. That is the formula OBSK.
OBSK. So OBSO and OBSK.
Right. So the second letter B represents the high rye mash bill. So they're both that. The last letter represents the yeast strain. So as we discussed in episode 84, that's where we did the last version. It is fun to try and collect all 10 different versions because they have all 10 versions of these. So, and how slightly they differ. So today we're comparing those two. They both offer that same mash bill, and the only difference is the yeast strain. Let's see what Nathan and Mike think of these two similar whiskeys.
You want us to taste?
Go ahead and start tasting the two. And you can see how just a simple thing as the particular yeast strain that somebody uses to make their bourbons can have an impact on the whiskey, with everything else being relatively similar.
Yeah, I seem to recall.
I don't think I liked the previous. Did I like the previous?
The previous one? You both gave it a thumbs up.
We both gave it a thumbs up.
I have notes on that one. Yeah, you both enjoyed that one quite a bit.
Out of the
This
two,
one's a lot easier.
This is
on the
way
tongue.
easier to drink. And what's the difference in the proof between the two?
They're almost identical.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I mean, if I'm going to get 100 proof,
almost to the decimal point.
Wow. So no, this Four Roses, which was a pretty big bite at the beginning that I was going to give it an immediate thumbs down to, is way smoother than the previous one that we tasted.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. So you guys, like I said, you both gave that one as a thumbs down. Between the two, I've been having a harder time drinking this current bottle over the last one.
Really?
Yeah, I keep going back to the last one over this one. So for the two younger whiskey drinkers, you prefer the OBSO because it's I'll put air quotes, easier drink. Okay. For those experienced whiskey drinkers, that OBSK is phenomenal.
There you go.
Much more depth and flavor.
All right. Well, whiskey and technology, it's a great pairing, just like cut and paste. I heard that from a friend of mine. Yeah, Control-C and Control-V. It'll take care of it every time.
You were lazy.
All right, let's get ready for our technology fail of the week, brought to you by Elite Executive Services, technology experts to help you out of a technology fail.
We are out of time. Congratulations, you're a failure.
Oh, I failed, did I?
Yes, Did I? Yes. Did I? Yes.
All right. Speaking about this week's technology fail, how much does 50 cents buy you nowadays?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. Back in the day when I was growing up, 50 cents would buy you like a Snickers bar. That is not even close now. It's like $1.97 or something like that.
It was a quarter.
Did you get a quarter for a candy bar?
Back in my father's day, everything was a nickel.
Okay, so I used to go and you had the bubble gum for 5 cents, and you had the Jolly Rogers for a penny.
My sister could go into the neighborhood store with 25 cents and come out with a bag of candy as big as her fist.
Really? Okay. All right. Well, this. Just think of 50 cents, what it can buy you today. Okay, because 50 cents is exactly how much it costs on the dark web to purchase credentials for any of the hacked Roku accounts that happened this last week. Roku has disclosed a data breach impacting over 15,000 customers after a hack's accounts were used to make fraudulent purchases of hardware and streaming subscriptions. However, the stolen accounts sell for less than 50 cents per account, allowing purchasers to use stored credit cards to make illegal purchases. On Friday, Roku disclosed the data breach, warning that 15,363 customers' accounts were hacked in a credential stuffing attack. The credential stuffing attack, threat actors essentially got the accounts, would log into the account itself, change the password, change the email, and then would purchase either streaming movies to watch or hardware devices that you could purchase with the credit cards that were affected in the Roku account. Now, Roku says it appears this breach was not as widespread as first reported, of course, is what they're going to say. But there's a problem with Roku's essentially system that they have right now. Their platform does not support two-factor authentication, which prevents hijacks in even the standard case of credentials to be compromised. So right now, Roku accounts are worth 50 cents on the dark web. If you have 50 cents and a Tor site, you can go and create an account, purchase people's usernames, logins, credit card information, and start making this available.
Okay, why are you seed planting right now?
Well, I'm not seed planting. What I'm saying is that Roku needs... Okay, I use a Roku TV at my house.
Yeah, but you're also one of these dark web cruisers, right?
Well, yeah, so this is a national story that hit on out that will get more news.
Don't go on the dark web and purchase anybody's information.
You shouldn't be on the dark web purchasing these accounts. But what I'm saying is most of these accounts, when we talk about these accounts getting compromised and available for purchase. Nick Espinoza on our last show, he said it was about $10,000 to $20,000 to purchase a whole database, but to purchase individuals' accounts within themselves are as low as 50 cents, 25 cents, sometimes a penny on a dollar to get these accounts with these users' passwords. So please use dual-factor authentication. And Roku, I love you, but figure out a way so that you have dual-factor authentication so people do not lose their hardware devices.
Did you know the smart TVs now are not allowing Roku interchangeability?
Oh, they're not? I did not know, because I just bought a Westinghouse just this last year, and it has Roku.
My new TV, I can't use a Roku device on it.
You can't plug it in?
No, it will not allow it.
What does it say?
The software is incompatible with it.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you buy? What type of TV did you buy? A Sony?
It was a Samsung smart TV.
Something? Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Now, with all that great information, we now need to move to Mike's mesmerizing
I don't have to worry about Roku stealing my information.
There you go. This is Mike's mesmerizing moment, presented by Story Coffee. Visit storycoffee.com. All right, here's my question. We're going to go back to your Airbnb story. Should the renter be allowed to view their guests on these cameras in common spaces, not the bedroom, not the bathroom, common spaces since it's their home?
No.
Well, explain this to me. Because I'm kind of torn. Like I said during your type of deal, explain why you don't think that they should have access.
Because first of all, if you're using your home for a business, that means your home is a product.
Okay.
So you lose some ownership over that because you are allowing other people to use it.
Okay.
The second piece is, and I understand it, because you don't want to rent your property out to people and have somebody trash it.
Yeah.
But that's the risk that you take, right? I don't see LexisNexis penalizing you for that risk.
No, that's true.
So it also you're also ensuring privacy. You're invading privacy if you are monitoring what somebody is doing in a rental property that you are renting out to somebody else. And like we talked about before, I talk about this a lot of times. It's not necessarily the technology that's the problem. It's the way that people abuse the technology that makes the problems for everybody else.
Okay.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yeah, what's that?
So I got a couple things. Number one, it's a business. All businesses have cameras. So being a product or a business, I would say more so it should be allowed to have cameras. And then number two is, how is this an invasion of privacy if it's in a common area and you have to disclose that camera being in a common area before you as a user submit to that rental?
When you go to a hotel,
that's exactly what I was going to.
Hotels have security cameras in the common area.
They
absolutely
have, but not in the room.
Those are common.
I agree with
common, but public areas. Those are not common private.
But if
areas.
I own a business, I can actually put a camera, not in the restrooms, but I can put them in every single. I can have it watch my employees.
Okay.
If I'm at 7-Eleven, I have it down there making sure my employee doesn't take anything on
public area. Those are public. But
that's my
areas.
private business.
It's your private business. It's on private property, but you're designating it as public areas. It's different than a common area. A common area is simply where people conglomerate to watch TV or something. But if you're renting out your house, your entire house becomes the motel room. And so they should feel free to be able to access those areas as if they were in a private area.
Let me ask you this: how about outside
of private
the area?
and public? Because our building, our business has cameras.
Yeah.
You cannot, as a public, come in without us allowing you in. That's a private space. That's a business.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see how that is any different.
Is there a difference between outside of the facility?
We're talking about allowing humans to be human. We're not talking about allowing customers to come in to buy products, which they can steal, for instance. Which means it's not a bad idea to have cameras. We're talking about you're allowing somebody to go into a space and be themselves in that private space. So there is an implication of security, a privacy in a B&B place.
Okay.
So
well, this is your mesmerizing moment. I like the counterpoint here because we all have different opinions.
Part of it is opinion, but part of it is because the reason why Airbnb has done this is because they've been getting a lot of complaints about hidden cameras in like bathrooms.
Oh, that is absolutely. I think we would agree on that. But changing the policy in public spaces doesn't change those people that have done wrong and hidden cameras. They're still going to do that.
They're still going to do that. They're just going to do it on a micro SD card so that it doesn't hook up to a network, and then they'll just have it on their own.
I think there's stuff in place that allows for somebody to do damage to it that you can track down that person and get it covered.
All right.
But as you know, humans are humans in different places all the time anyway. So if it's a common area, that doesn't necessarily mean that people are not going to be doing things that might be
that's
captured.
On them.
All right, let's go to our pick of the day here.
Ooh, pick of the day.
And now our pick of the day for our whiskey tastings. Let's see what bubbles to the top.
Today, we have been sipping on Four Roses Single Barrel Strength OBSO. So 10 years, 4 months, straight bourbon from Four Roses, 111.4 proof, roughly $100.
I gave the other one a thumbs up.
You did.
I have to give this one. I think this is better.
I don't think you have to give it
I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
Especially the way you made that face when you
first time it was bad. But then, every whiskey, when you just take it immediately.
Not every whiskey.
I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
I got a thumbs up, too.
Thumbs up? 2 thumbs up?
Yeah, I went back and tasted the second one, so it was good, too.
It was good, too.
Yeah, even though this isn't my favorite recipe, it's definitely still a thumbs up for me.
All right, we didn't get to the Nathan Nugget. I was going to talk about porn bots that are taking over Twitter and SMS, but we'll talk about that next week. So.
I thought you were going to talk about geese. Oh, no.
No. We already got through that one. But you know what? We really appreciate you guys as listeners. For all of you guys that are listening, we want to hear from you. Click on our techtimeradio.com and click that top right-hand corner to be a caller. Leave us a voicemail message, and we're going to get back to you. We're excited to be here. Everybody's back in the studio. Remember, the science of tomorrow starts with the technology of today. We'll see you next week.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on Tech Time Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/techtimeradio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at Tech Time Radio, remember, Mumm's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.